Yeah, McCaslin Road, I just came up it.
Oh.
It's gonna be snow covered.
Yeah, the snow's gonna cover the whole
It's gonna
road.
be
There's
impassable
no, yeah,
by the time we leave here.
I know.
You come up from the south.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I have our like bad car with no.
Oh, yeah, you're not getting
No.
through there. So, not in another hour if it doesn't. Now, I don't know if they'll be out with the plows or not, but it's getting, you have to almost go through the neighborhood. You should go through the neighborhood. Like take Rock Creek.
Oh, yeah. That'll probably be better because it's more protected.
Yeah.
I think you could probably take Michael's.
I was kind of hanging out.
I know.
Main Street and then like around.
Yeah. Or just go up to Rock Creek, go up to Rock Creek Parkway and take that down, the top of the hill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I had to go up.
But that's not bad there. It's bad as you go down
Oh, on
The other side.
on the other side, yeah. Where the open space, just where there's
Okay.
nothing blocking anything.
Oh.
It's
No,
both lanes.
yeah,
It was
my car-
both lanes of traffic on the way.
Okay, well, I have,
Recording in progress.
I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the planning commission. First item on the agenda is a roll call.
Chairman Harper,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rose,
Present.
Commissioner Vaughn. Here. Commissioner Whitty,
Here.
Commissioner Barnes,
Here.
Commissioner Gordon, Commissioner Mojo,
Here.
Commissioner Gross,
Here.
Commissioner Shanahan. Here. We have a quorum.
Oh, that's good. I guess the next item would be public comment, but I don't see any public either here or online. So-
Is your microphone on, David?
Actually, no, now it is.
Now it is.
I'll say the next order of business was a public comment, but there's nobody in the hall, and as far as I can tell, there's nobody online either. So I don't think we're going to get much public comment. So I think we can move along to approving the minutes of our last two meetings. Would somebody like to approve the minutes of the October the 15th meeting? Make a motion to approve them?
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Do we need a roll call vote, or can we just say aye?
We'll just do a roll call really quick, sorry.
Okay.
Just in case, because Bree is online, so.
Yes, that would be better for me just to hear and everything. Thank you.
Okay. For approval of October 15th, 2024 minutes, we have a first from David Gross and a second from Commissioner Gross and the second from Commissioner Shanahan. Chairman Harper.
I was absent.
Vice Chair Rose.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
And a second? Don't feel shy. All right, I'll second it.
Okay. We have a first from Commissioner Vaughn and a second from Chairman Harper. Chairman Harper?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, this is for approval of the minutes from November 19th, 2024. Vice Chair Rose?
I will vote yes, even though I wasn't there.
Okay. Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Whitty?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes?
Abstain since I wasn't there.
Commissioner Mojo?
Yes.
Commissioner Gross?
Yes.
And Commissioner Shanahan?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay, now, the next item 4, is each year we actually have to elect a chairman and a vice chairman for this committee. So well, let's start in an easy way. How many people would actually like me to continue?
Okay, are you willing to continue?
Thank you for that overwhelming vote of confidence. In that
Are you
case,
interested in being chair?
yes, in view of that, I think I'm willing to, more than willing, yes, I'm willing to continue, but I think
Okay.
I still need to be nominated, so
I will nominate you.
thank you, Ronnie. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll go through. Sorry, I know, it's a pain. Okay, for chair for 2025, this is a vote for Chairman Harper to remain chair. We have a first from Vice Chair Rose and a second from Commissioner Barnes. Chairman Harper.
We have to elect a vice chair. If,
We'll do the chair and then we'll come back and we'll do a vote for the vice chair. If that's okay?
I
Then,
thought didn't we just vote for the chair?
well,
We
I'm
don't.
You're
I'm
the
getting
first
a roll
one.
call.
She's asking you first,
Oh,
so.
okay,
can do roll call.
sorry.
I'm doing a roll call.
Yeah, sorry,
for chair.
sorry. Okay, yes.
Okay. Vice Chair currently, Rose.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Yes.
Commissioner Whitty.
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
Commissioner Mojo.
Yes.
Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations. You are chair once more.
Well,
right.
thank you, everybody. I appreciate your confidence. Okay, moving along to the vice chairman. Lonnie, would you like to continue as vice chair?
Well, it was so much work this past year. I chaired one meeting, thank you. Sure.
Okay, I'll try and be absent more often this year.
Does anyone else want to be vice chair? We should allow.
Yes, please.
Is anybody anxious? Would anybody else like to be considered for this position?
You might have to run one meeting.
Anybody need a resume builder?
It sounds like we only have one candidate for this vital position.
And you're good with this?
Lonnie
Sure.
is willing to serve. So,
Okay.
I guess I still have to nominate him, and you still have to. Who would like to be a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. And then we need a roll call.
Yep. All right, so for vice chair, we are voting for Vice Chair Rose one more year for 2025. We have a first from Chairman Harper and a second from Commissioner Barnes. Chairman Harper,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rose,
Abstain.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitty,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Mojo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you both for stepping up. Again.
Okay, so we're going to continue as we were. Okay, great. The next item is a work session to review and comment on the 2025 Planning Commission work plan. Do you have any comments on this, Renee, or, sorry?
Really, I left, this is exactly what we had last year. I removed, we had something on the housing plan, so I
Yes.
removed that. We can embellish some of the like comprehensive plan stuff. But I'm gonna go through that also as part of this meeting and every meeting this whole year. So, I don't know if there's anything else. I went through all the bullets and they still seemed pretty applicable, and I feel like we've been doing most of them and we've gotten better at some of them over the last year. But if there's more that you'd like to add, I am happy to add.
Actually, I think before we actually get to this, it would be helpful to have an update from you on where the comprehensive plan stands at the moment. What people have been doing and what activities are actually going on. I think there's a sort of general feeling that we're getting to the point where we ought to have some more involvement in this, and it would probably be helpful to incorporate that into our plan before we give it to, I guess, what's now the town council, right?
That's right. Bria, can we move the update section to like now and then?
Yes.
Okay.
And come back. Yes, you can.
Okay, great. Okay, well, you're going to have more questions, but I'm going to give you like a brief update on the comprehensive plan. Since our last meeting, I know I told you we were doing a renter survey based and business, reaching out to businesses. Both of those were based on our conversations from November and October and the results of the initial survey that we went through and everything else. Is that? There we go. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information on the renter survey. We had 214 respondents, and there we go. It was basically a 3-question survey, just to keep it simple and get as much input as we could from them. And so we asked them why they lived in Superior, why they chose Superior to, as their home. The most common answers were their proximity to work, the community character, being close to family, and having access to Boulder, Denver, all of the same answers that everyone else said for why they wanted to live here. Then we asked them if they moved, what would they be looking for in their move, and they overwhelmingly said single-family homes. Generally, like the single-family housing just in general was the top one, and then second was a ranch-style single-family, and then third was a small lot single-family home. So not surprising, given that they've chosen Superior as their home renting, that they would be looking for something that we also offer here, which is single-family homes. And they'd love to live here and continue living here. That was kind of a resounding general thing that kind of came through in the survey results. But it was a really short survey. It was really just to hear from them and see if there was anything more that we could be doing for them.
Just as a question, what's the percentage of renters in Superior again? It's quite high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 40%.
Okay. Thank you.
Or about 40%, right around there. And then we also felt like we needed to hear from businesses in town. And so we went to all of the businesses and walked them and talked to managers or owners. We ended up speaking with 44 different people. And this little chart is, we asked them about 10 questions probably. We said the interviews took about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how chatty they wanted to be. But generally speaking, the businesses seem to be doing fairly well. As you can see here, 33% of them, when we asked them on a scale of 1 to 5, how their business is doing, 1 being not doing well at all and 5 being very successful, they overwhelmingly were on the positive side. So 33% gave it a 5, 27% a 4, 20% a 3. So right there you have, a very large chunk of our businesses saying that they're doing, mostly well or very well. So that was really great to hear and see. The ones that weren't doing so well were either newer businesses that were just getting established, or they're struggling to find folks because they're kind of in hidden little areas. It just depends. I'm not sure exactly where all of them were. But, I'm wanting to schedule a special meeting on January 4th for the comprehensive plan presentation from Cushing Terrell. I know originally we had it scheduled for the 18th. But if you all can make it on the 4th, that's before we present to Planning Commission. And it gets the information out sooner. I know you've all been waiting for this and we keep, postponing and pushing it back. And so the 4th is the first Tuesday of February. It'd be a regular 6 p.m. meeting on Tuesday. It's a special meeting because we're meeting once a month this year instead of twice a month. And they'll present on all of this information as well as the existing conditions. They have a proposed, future land use map that they want to, that there's, the opportunity zones are outlined and staff has said what might work, and the finance people have looked at it and said, this would work, but this wouldn't, and the transportation people have looked at them. So now we want feedback from you before we send it out to the public to get public opinion.
Remind me what property this is?
It's all of the opportunity zone properties. So anything that's undeveloped in town or within an annexation area, it's on that map and they'll talk about that. So
that would separate the business survey results into the marketplace, the new downtown, the old Safeway on Colton Road and those kind of places.
It will talk about land uses for opportunity zones, but they'll summarize. So the business survey results and the renter survey results and our original survey that we did and all of the meetings that we had with the committees across town are all kind of summarized in an existing conditions appendix or report, whatever you want to call it. It's a document that they've made and they're going to present it to you, and it kind of summarizes all of the outreach we've done, including these two. I just hadn't updated you on these two quite yet, so I wanted to give you this update and then let you know that they want to present to you the full existing conditions, including all of the outreach that we've done to date, and then talk about the future land use map piece, which is the opportunity zone pieces. If that makes sense.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of the meetings with all of the advisory committees, were there any reports which were then submitted to Cushing Terrell, or was it all oral reports, or was it written?
So it's not, staff, because we presented and listened and took notes, we summarized what we heard and then passed that along, and that's been taken into consideration in the future land use map for those opportunity zones.
And so that went to Cushing?
Correct, yeah. So that you won't see a report on those specifically, but the notes from those meetings went to them so that they could, we all, staff all met, all of the directors and people in the field, and I think there was 15 staff members who met with the Cushing Terrell team to look at the future land use map and all those opportunity zones. And so those staff are the ones who head those committees. So they were there listening as well. So, but now we have lots of questions related to that, and that's what that map will have That's part of their discussion. So they'll present to you the existing conditions and all the things that they heard. And then they'll show you this map and they'll say, you know, based on what we heard, we think that this makes sense in these locations. And then you'll have a discussion.
Would it be helpful if we saw the summary of those advisory committee responses and comments in anticipation of the February 4th meeting?
I could go back and look through what the summary, like,
Each of us went to some of them.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think without really discussing this among the members who went there were some meetings that were helpful and some meetings that were less helpful.
Yeah, well.
In fact, yes. And so I'm just wondering whether, because not all of us went to them, whether it
Right.
would be, again, if you don't think it's going to be helpful for us in our discussions to see those,
I think it will be important for you to, if you need notes from those meetings, I can provide them to you so that in the meeting where they're asking for input on those things, if there was something at one of the meetings that you all attended, that's when you would voice, like, I attended this meeting and I heard this from these people. Was that part of your conversation? Did was that part of this consideration?
Okay.
Those are the types of things that you'll want to, like, bring to them. So all of the things, I think last meeting, we also discussed some of them, like, we gone to most of them. So I think we went through each of them kind of just high level, like, and I tried to get your thoughts and opinions. So I made those notes as well.
second question. Is there any other, as a result of all of this, I know you're sort of pushing this information to Cushing and in anticipation of this February 4th meeting, has the staff determined whether there's any other information that they think is going to be helpful in for the February 4th discussion and later on?
I think that we have gathered all of the existing condition information that we can, and they have compiled all of the information that we've given them. And now when we look to make decisions on the, comprehensive plan and, start actually compiling the new document with the new future land use map, that's when, like, the information will become useful, I guess. And so they'll be, they're going to come in February, and then they'll probably come one more time at least to Planning Commission before they come to present a plan. I have to look at the timeline, how many times they were planning, but I think 3 or 4 times they were scheduled to come to Planning Commission as part of the project. It takes a long time to get to this first step because they had all that background work to work through in order to set the stage and understand, where we're at and where we might be going.
Is there going to be any more? I mean, some of the land use things are going to be quite controversial. I mean, if you look at Zaharias, there's people who think it ought to be developed. There's people who think it ought to be left as open space. The same thing is true of Town 15. I mean, is there going to be any more public outreach
Absolutely.
on that subject?
100%. So you'll see it, then town council will see it, and then more edits and conversations will happen. Updates will occur. We may bring it back to you, not Cushing Trail, but staff. And then it will go out for public comment also. I'm not sure when I'm sure in spring we have some events that are going to take place. We'll have maps and things and a table. Anytime there's an opportunity for staff to hold a table at a town event, we will have a table at a town event and provide and take information that way. I'm sure we'll have more surveys that go out, and we'll probably have more meetings and things like that where we invite people to come. I know there's a couple of open houses planned. We don't have the dates, but that's part of our contract with them, is 2 open houses. So all of those things are coming this year. So you'll see a lot more discussion on what the plan is going to look like. At this one, they'll also talk about I'm blanking on the word, but like what the town feels, how does the comprehensive plan describe the town? Like who are we and what do we represent and what's important to us? So throughout the surveys and the discussions they've been having with people, they've been keeping notes and writing things down. And so there's also going to be a discussion where they talk about how, what you all want to see for the future of the town and what what's important.
Like our culture.
Your culture, your.
I'm going to give advance notice, because one of the questions that I'm going to continue to ask over this whole process is not just what is the town of Superior today, but since this comprehensive plan is going to discuss what's going to happen in the years to come, recognizing that it's been, 12 years since our last comprehensive plan, and hopefully this won't be something that will go for 12 years, but at least for the next 5 or 6 years, what's the feeling that, what are we going to look like in 2030? And I'm going to continue to ask that question, and whether it's
They are asking that question also.
of staff or for Cushing,
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to ask that question. So just a
that
little
is
advance notice.
100% what you should also be keeping in mind throughout all of these conversations, especially as we move forward with these, with the comprehensive plan itself, and not just the existing conditions, who we are now, but that is what they're looking for.
I
would expect like a chart that said, here's what we look like today. We have this many people, we have this many rental, we have this many, here's our services, here's all this. And then here's what the comprehensive plan is thinking we look like in whatever, 10 years or 5. And we now have 30,000 residents, and we have our own police department, we have our own, right? I mean, that's what I'm imagining. There's something in there that addresses all of that.
Yes.
I think those are clearly what the overall goal of the plan is. My particular issue is what's going to happen in the marketplace. And
that is on the opportunity zones list. So when we talk about the future land use map, we will include the marketplace in that discussion.
The other thing I'd like an update on is the transportation plan, because I don't think you can look at the marketplace without looking at transportation, and that's probably true of downtown and other places in Superior as well. So
absolutely,
if we could get an update on what the transportation people are doing, that would be helpful as well.
I have that on my list. I don't know if they'll be ready for the February 4th, because they're about a month behind the comp plan. Their timelines will come closer as we get farther. But they have the existing conditions kind of laid out, a draft of it. And Jeffrey is working from the planning department, is on that committee as well. So he's our person from the planning department who's on the transportation plan group. He attends all of their meetings and, you know, looks at things from the planning perspective. So he'll, if he's not able to attend on February 4th, he'll come to our next meeting after that to give an update. Cushing Terrell has also been working with the transportation plan team, so they've had a few meetings with both consulting teams at the same time, so that they are working together and, you know, sharing some information so that we can make sure that the plans speak to one another. So
There was a lot of, in the 2012 plan, there's a lot of economic data about the area and things like that. Is that going to be updated? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I kind of looked at, I actually looked at shapesuperior.com earlier. And, the big idea at the moment is still the marketplace. But there's only about
need to update.
there's only about 15 comments on it, and the last one was made 2 months ago.
It is on our list also to, like, we've been really focused on the existing conditions for the last 2 months, I'd say. And yeah, so we really haven't done anything new recently. But now that it's January and it's through 2/3 of the way through January already, it is on my list to update and put a new big idea out there and see what comes next on Shape Superior, because I know it's kind of idle at the moment. But it's on my radar. I was on it today also, and I was like, oh, we need to update this, so we'll.
I was glad to see that anybody had commented at all, actually.
Oh, yeah, there were several comments. So.
Yeah, no, they all wanted coffee shops, bookstores, and
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
Getting a bookstore.
we're getting a bookstore, so
are.
that's
Ready,
progress.
almost open. So, are we definite on the February 4th?
Yes, if you all are going to attend and are available and we have a quorum, then I will say yes. Not that we need to vote on anything, I don't think, but like I want as many people here as possible when they come to present. So as long as you'll be here, they will be here, and I will be here.
It's somehow already on my calendar, so I can be there.
And would that take the place of the February 18th meeting? Or
I'm
do
going to
we-
say
Or do we need another meeting after that?
I might temporarily put a hold on the 18th just in case there's, if Jeffrey can't make it, or if
Okay.
we have more conversation we want to have, or we would need Jeffrey to come do a transportation plan update to y'all. I'll hold the 18th as well, just in case. But that'll be based on our February 4th meeting, whether or not we need to meet on the 18th. We don't have any other items coming up in February.
So I will be out of town then, so I won't be able to make it. Is there any way we can get some of the information ahead of time to just kind of look at? I will be able to look at info.
It'll all be in the packet when we send it out, so you'll get all of, and if they have a presentation, I'll send you the presentation as well.
Okay. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, they will have a presentation, but
Being alive, so, well, it could be tough. Okay, thanks, that's good.
okay, great. My other updates are just on the other things not associated with the comprehensive plan, just to like give you a little quick update. Block 8 in downtown, they're actively working on their building permit. They haven't submitted yet, but we've been back and forth with them. That's the apartment on the south block. Bixby.
Have you heard anything about blocks 2 and 5?
Not recently, but I don't get those updates. Jill talks to RC Superior folks kind of, I think she must have a regular something with them. So she assures us that it's still coming. Same thing with Bixby. She talks to the Bixby people. That's still coming. But it's vague and I don't know. I mean, other than her being positive that is still coming, that is all the information that I have.
Okay.
Kite Route Crossing is the senior affordable housing project, and we're seeking funding for that. So Lisa's working with them. There's a grant that we've been asked to apply for in order to get funding. So they're working actively. I think that's coming, that's for sure in the pipeline, and they're still actively working on it. So hopefully.
Can I ask a question about the Kite route crossing?
Absolutely.
Is there any chance Boulder County funds will come through?
They've been working with Boulder County as well. So they're working, I mean, they have funding sources from all over the place. I guess that's how it works with affordable housing. I am not an affordable housing expert, but they have all kinds of different funding. And so Boulder County, the Prop 123 stuff is something that they have also been looking at. I don't know what that looks like. Lisa will be here probably on February 4th with Cushing Trail, and she could probably give you a better update on exactly what the funding sources are and who they're talking to and things like that.
Okay.
But I just know that they have I think bi-weekly meeting to talk about where they're at on things.
Okay, and I think the county's funding source, I think they came up with some kind of a formula for how the money would be allocated.
They were working on it, and yes. So yeah, there's some mechanism for them figuring out how much should go to who and how that gets dispersed.
I'm assuming the town will have say over.
They are part of those conversations.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have all the details because I don't attend those meetings. Lisa does. But the answer to your questions are all yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question, because this will probably be a no, and I should probably know the answer to this, but does the town of Superior, will the town of Superior contribute any money to this? Because it's like one of the things we haven't done in any of these, where it doesn't seem like we've gathered money, so probably haven't, it's probably the first part is we probably needed to tax ourselves to do this. But do we have any money to spend or to contribute to affordable housing?
The short answer is no, but that doesn't mean that we won't look for, other ways to help get the project through.
But there is that countywide tax,
Correct.
which is to go towards
Yeah.
housing and has affordable housing as a priority.
Like
Right.
one of
And we have been paying into that.
No, I get it, but we built, this is just my own person, we built a whole downtown and we really kind of ignored the whole concept of affordable housing and doing something, so it's just irritating to me, I guess.
I think it was in December, the town board at the time approved, so town council, gotta just say town council. The town council approved waiving review fees and not all review fees, but most review fees and tap fees. So that's what we have said that we would do so far, is waive those fees, which can be quite substantial.
Yeah, my recollection, that was close to $750 million. So pretty significant
Yeah.
savings.
It was as much. The fees were $750,000?
Well, tap fees alone.
Oh, I see what, those tap
Tap
fees, yeah.
fees, wastewater connection fees, and then building fees and other review fees. So.
The hotel is also still coming. They went through, they were being bought by another larger corporation. So it was on hold for a little bit before they could determine whether or not they were still going to be Ever Home Suites or if it was going to be a different hotel. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be Ever Home Suites, but I don't know. But basically, there's a hotel that is still being, they're supposed to, there's some dates in February that they're trying to meet. So like imminently, they should be moving forward on something. That's also, I'm full of really, really good information this evening. But that is also coming. So we have things coming. They're just not being built right now because it's winter and they're all in their own versions of different funding things. The housing strategies are going to town council for approval on January 7th. 27th, not 7th, sorry. January 27th, the town council is going to vote on the housing strategies from last year. So look forward to that. I think the packet will be out in the next couple of days for that. And so I encourage you to look through. There's been a few changes to the document since the last time, but nothing like crazy or substantial, just pared down a little bit of the wording. So, and then we're just continuing to follow and track and work towards compliance on all of the bills that were passed, land use legislation that passed in 2023 and 2024. So this is a list of the main ones that we're working on and that are coming sooner than later. So yeah, the ADUs one will be updating our code. So we'll bring the land use code, the zoning code for ADUs to you all. And that has to be approved by June 30th. It goes into effect, the law goes into effect on July 1st. So we'll be updating our code before then.
What does it actually require or allow?
A lot of things, which I will go through. Did I bring that to you last year? I think I did. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So, there's a whole list of things. And I think we brought it to you for your thoughts, and then we brought it to town council and got their, yeses and nos and direction. And so now we're going to work on the actual zoning code update, and then we'll bring that to you all. The transit-oriented communities bill is the one for the RTD stop that talks about housing units. Lisa's tracking that one, and there's no real updates yet on that. Same thing with the parking requirements. I think we'll have the parking requirements does require a zoning update in our code that Lisa's going to put, but it's really minimal. And so that will probably come with the ADU code update. Wildfire resiliency, they're going to come out with our mapping of where the WUI is. I think sometime soon. I forget the deadline for that. But then we'll be able to see what falls into the WUI that they've determined. And then we can determine whether or not how we want to update our code in order to match whatever policy that they say we need to match. And then we can decide whether we want to do it across the whole town or just in particular areas based on the map that they have determined is the WUI for us.
When do we think that'll be?
That's also this year sometime. Okay. All of these have different dates and deadlines. So like the board for this wildfire resiliency code has been working to determine what the map should look like for like a year. And so that map is being released sometime soon. And then towns will receive the map that says, and a code that we could, a minimum code that we have to like abide by in the WUI, where the WUI is in their map. So once we know what the requirements are and where the WUI is, then we can start to have conversations. But so like, we're waiting on the board to give us direction as to what the requirements will be before we bring anything to you all. And those dates and deadlines are coming this year.
Is the board a Boulder County board or a?
It's a whole bunch, it's a statewide board.
Okay.
And so there's municipal workers, there's fire professionals, there's like, it is a large board, and everyone has a different type of expertise. So I think it's a well-rounded board. It's amazing that they've gotten things done with all of the people on the committee, so it's really great. I'm anxious to see what they come up with. Yeah, so that's all of the updates.
Are these legislation going to be in the comp plan?
Not the bills themselves, but consideration for, like, we know that we are going to come into compliance with these. So when we are looking at the comp plan and updating the comprehensive plan, none of the recommendations in the comprehensive plan should go, they all should be taking these into consideration and not be in conflict with each other, so.
Just, I'm going to answer your question in a little bit different kind of way, and that is that with the advent of the ADU possibilities, which will expand exponentially the opportunities for housing in the town of Superior, there's got to be support for all the people that would live in those ADUs if they were to be built. And so the question really becomes not necessarily where are the new subdivisions going, but how are we going to support increased ADUs, just as an example.
Yeah, well, there will be a certain number of new ADUs that come online, and that in itself brings new units as well as new residents. And, ADUs tend to be more affordable, which is helpful for, us. There's also language in that bill that says if you, have owners who want to have truly affordable ADUs, you can count those towards your affordable housing goals. So there's potential to have affordable considered affordable ADUs, not just that they're more affordable than other houses, but they fall into the people making them qualify for funding as a low-income person, and then whoever runs the ADU allows people who qualify for affordable housing funding to live in those units, then therefore you have affordable units in town. So that's part of it. It gets complicated. And it's not a requirement, but it is a consideration that's written into that code. So when we get to the zoning piece, we'll talk more about all the different options.
Is that going to override HOA requirements and things like that?
Yes.
Yes. The ADU piece is any single-family home on a lot essentially can build an ADU if the lot is large enough and the square footages match.
Okay.
Or you can,
read into that Rock Creek.
yeah, you can do basement conversions, you can do add-ons, you can do detached, just depends on,
So to just sort of say it in another kind of way, it's not going to affect most of what's in downtown Superior. It's not going to affect Calmonte. It's not going to affect, to try and think of the other HOAs in town, the Ridge, but it will affect Rock Creek, and it's possible, although I think unlikely, Sagamore.
yeah, I mean, if
Because
you
there's not enough space on a lot.
if you can
do
meet
that.
zone building codes and have egress and you know, entry and exit and access to the unit, then it can be an ADU. But that, you know, on those small properties, it gets tight, and having that, meeting those building code requirements becomes more demanding than it's, you know, worth for, if more, I don't know, that's not how I should say it, but.
It's, the ADU piece is something that is truly, it's remarkable in what they said they were going to try to do and what they ultimately accomplished, but it has the potential for changing the character of communities. And as we talk about, you know, what are we going to look like in the future? You know, if we add 20% of the population, 20% of the single-family homes put in ADUs, it's going to dramatically change what we have to serve in town. You know, in transportation, in services, in
It's all true.
water.
But it depends, those are going to happen over time, and they'll trickle, you know, like it's not one huge development happening all at once.
No.
So, so there's at least that. Yeah, but we'll get into more like zoning and details and all the ifs and whats and hows when we do that zoning code piece, because you'll have lots of questions, I guarantee it.
Yep.
Do we want to move?
It sounds to me
So
like Renee's actually, well, carry on.
No, I was going to say, now we're talking about our work plan.
I don't know, David, is that, are we good to move on?
I was just going to ask, does anybody have any, anybody want to have more questions for Renee? David, Mike, Amanda, Anne, Steve, Ryan? We good? Okay, well, I think we might come back to our previous item then.
Council spelled wrong.
Oh, look at that. I wonder if it was always spelled wrong. Oh, no, it's not, because I changed board to council. That's fat fingers. Okay. Should we go one at a time, or do you want to read through it all? How do you want to do this?
I personally would like to, I mean, I don't mind doing them one at a time, because they're pretty much the same as they were, and as you said, they're pretty much the same as 2024. I wouldn't mind adding something a little more dynamic to item 1.
Do you want to create like a list, or do you want to write more?
Well, at the moment, it seems like a very sort of passive, I mean, we are gathering information, but actually it's being presented to us largely. And
Right.
I was trying to figure out what we could do to perhaps be a little more involved with this.
You want to specifically list the opportunity areas that are going to be reviewed carefully?
That would be, I think that'd be a good one, yes.
I just wonder if the wording should change, because it sounds like review, it doesn't sound like we're actually updating. It should be like update comprehensive plan, since that's what we're doing this year.
But is it us who are updating it? I mean, who
Well, actually, if you look,
who owns the updating of the plan?
if you look at the town code, it's us.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah.
us?
Yes.
It's our
I mean, it feels like, well, I guess if we are truly the updater, it feels like we're passive in the.
Well, that's what, that's the point I was trying to make a little.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been passive now for 3 months or 4 months. Right, I mean,
So when the zoning says that the planning commission is responsible for the comprehensive plan, the intent behind that is to ensure that the planning commission, receives all of the information and then has the opportunity to share and provide feedback and get, their voice heard throughout the process, which is, I understand your expectations, but what we've been doing is that it's just coming through me to them and then back, and it's flowing this way. And it needs, they're going to come and present, but they can't come to every planning commission meeting, and they're not going to go to any more board meetings than they are planning commission meetings. Even though you all are the ultimate ones who are responsible, and the board is the final, approval. It's not intended that you all spend excess time and energy with the consulting team to write the plan and do the plan. That's the staff's job, to ensure that your voices are heard throughout the process. And so that's what we've been trying to do. And it's just taken longer to get them into the room with you all than was originally intended.
No, I appreciate what you're doing, and it'll clearly be very helpful, but the challenge with when you're always on the receiving end and never involved in actually developing it is it sort of drives the direction. It's very easy for that to drive the direction.
what if we changed it to say we actively manage? Well, I mean, if that's what we want to do, but are we too late in the process to do that? I don't know. But I mean, what we're talking about is actively managing the consultant hired to prepare the comprehensive plan, because we're not going to gather the information, right? They're going to gather the information. They're going to do it, and we're going to critique, provide feedback on on their suggestions,
Right.
And ultimately we're going to, I guess, approve the recommendations they make.
So there hasn't been like the existing conditions is the first thing that they've actually produced that is going to you to present and review. We reviewed a draft that was bullet points. That's not what they're going to present to you. They're going to present to you findings and where we are and, for existing conditions. So there hasn't been, to your point, like what you expect is what is truly happening. It just there hasn't been anything yet.
Well, the survey is totally opposite of that. We got the survey after it was done.
That's true, because we wanted to get the survey out, and that
But
was
again, if we own the process, that was
that wouldn't
completely
happen.
wrong,
Yeah.
right? So I just think we have to decide what we want to do, and can we change it and influence it? Because we're clearly, you're kind of the buffer in between us right now. And is that what we want? And is that what we,
That's why I was trying to figure out how we could be constructively involved in this, because I don't see us managing the consultant, actually. I mean, that's a sort of day-to-day activity, right?
We have a weekly meeting for about 45 minutes. And then we have work in between those meetings, and then we get back together with them. So yes.
Would it be possible for us to attend some of those meetings, or have the commissioners attend some of those if they're particularly interested in an area?
no more than two of us.
No more than two of us, yeah. Well, I'm sure Cushing, Terrell and Renee wouldn't want more than two of us.
How about if I can wordsmith a little bit here? Develop an updated comprehensive plan utilizing the resources of the staff and the consultant
To gather information.
to gather information and provide recommendations for targeted updates. And that, I think that sort of puts the responsibility on us for the development of that plan. That's our work plan. Is that helpful? Now, specifically, we think that the targeted opportunity areas are important. And if I could add a B, participate in discussions regarding, how should we, the marketplace.
Superior Marketplace?
Yes.
That's what it's called, yeah. Superior.
Yeah, so,
What are the, I mean,
what do we, use, not necessarily use, but,
Redevelopment?
redevelopment, possible redevelopment of Superior Marketplace.
I think the idea of redeveloping Superior Marketplace would, I mean, I
not
personally
us.
think it's a good idea, but I think
Yeah.
it's kind of, that's kind of a
Too
red,
far?
that's kind of a red flag, actually.
Participate in discussions regarding Superior Marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it
Do you want
relates to, as it relates to the right,
Comprehensive plan.
Right, it's all a comprehensive plan. So I think
Yeah.
these are just, we want to make sure that's a component.
So we can take out the redevelopment.
Yeah.
And the reason for picking the Superior Marketplace is that the Northwest sub-area plan is already out there and was never adopted.
Right.
What about what about adding transportation plan in there? David, you wanted to review, I think, as a part of this, didn't you? The
Yeah.
transportation plan, is that part of the comprehensive plan or not?
I think there will be a chapter in the comprehensive plan on transportation. Is that correct, Renee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, as part of the comprehensive plan transportation chapter, the planning commission will ensure the,
You could just say the same thing you say in B, participate. I think you can get rid of the whole comprehensive, just say participate in discussions regarding the transportation plan, because I think that's what we're trying. to
Yeah, there
do,
you
Kind of
go.
all of these.
So one priority for the town of Superior and the Planning Commission is affordable housing or a housing strategy. And it would seem that that needs to be stated somewhere in this work plan.
We had housing strategies as part of the 24, but we've got the housing strategies plan that they're going to
Implement the plan?
maybe continue to find or work towards finding opportunities to implement affordable housing development.
How about,
I don't
Implement the town's affordability targets or whatever the town's goals, whatever the town calls it, the 12% goal.
Incremental housing, what is that called? Bria, do you know incremental?
I'm not sure. Let me check.
And is that something you want in the comprehensive plan or separate from the comprehensive plan?
I mean, in the housing section, it'll talk about affordable housing and where we're at and, and set,
But also
For
where,
housing
won't
goals.
it talk about
But
where
in
we'll want to
addition
be
to that-
eventually?
in addition to the comprehensive plan, I think his point was
Yeah.
that one of Planning Commission's goals is to ensure that there's affordable housing in town. And so,
I would
Do-
put that as a sort of D, review I'd say something like review
You
the
wanna
plan
ensure-
for compliance with or for meeting the town's affordable housing goals or something like that.
For the top, whatever we passed last year,
Yeah.
right?
And Renee, it would be incremental development,
okay,
if you want to add that in there.
I think this works.
Yeah.
Review the plan for compliance with the town's affordable housing goals.
and what's
strategies.
the council is going to vote on the housing plan?
Correct.
And
Well, it's called the housing strategies. It's
housing
not a plan.
strategies.
Because it's not a plan.
Strategies, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Semantics, but it was a request by the council they don't want it to read as though it's a plan. They're housing strategies that the town can adopt.
That's good.
And then we can move forward in implementing ones that make sense as we want.
In line one there, I don't think we really need to repeat comprehensive plan in the second line for targeted updates. You could just go straight for targeted updates. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I like that better. I think that's an improvement over.
I think we're good.
Yeah, it's much more specific. It's actionable is what it is.
Sort of,
Yeah.
yes.
I have a question, because I don't want to lose track of all those things that we've listed in number 4. To what extent does staff interact with their colleagues in those communities, Louisville, Lafayette, and Broomfield? And the reason I ask that is because if we're going to be keeping informed about regional planning with adjacent jurisdictions, none of us do that. And so the question really is, should we be doing this, or is there a way for us to get that information through staff?
Yeah, maybe we could update this so that it's more actionable for staff to keep you updated and informed about regional
Because
planning, because we do work with them on all kinds of different things. If it's housing, then staff will work with them on something housing related. We're like all of those bills that I talked about. We're constantly talking to them about how they're going about implementing all of those things. And so
I
there's
haven't
a lot
received any
Right.
desires from the Planning Commission for the town of Louisville to come to our meetings, nor do I really care to go to theirs.
Although you
But
could,
if we're supposed to be sort of keeping track of what's going on over there, I think reading about it in the newspaper after they do it is probably not something that is going to satisfy that bullet point in
Well,
number
I
4.
think it will now if you go back and read what it says, because read 4. Well,
the
regular
updates
From
from the
staff.
staff. So it's
And that's,
basically.
that's why
I think this
that's why I
is
asked the
something-
question in the first instance
Yeah.
about how much do they do that? Because if
Yeah.
if that is something they do, then I'm just simply going to say,
We should
keep
do
us more
informed, yeah.
about what's going on over there.
I will
because
do that.
reading about it in the newspaper about what the planning, what's going on over in Louisville is not, for me, very helpful because it's already done, and I appreciate when I read in the newspaper about, all these incentives that the towns of Lafayette and Louisville are doing for business. And I just say to myself, well, that's interesting.
I think we should add, like after 3, a 4 that says, update the town code to comply with state mandates or something on that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Something on that large list that we have to now incorporate into our code.
Just flitting quickly back to what's now 5, the kind of things I'd be interested in is what you hear about how the redevelopment of the movie theatre or what's happening with Lowe's or any of those other areas
Yeah,
that would potentially affect Superior.
This is for sure an area where I have not done probably as much as I could or should in order to keep you all informed about what's happening in our adjacent jurisdictions. I get into working relationships on specific projects or like regional things and not into the specifics on what developments are happening right in those jurisdictions. And so I think that's something that I can for sure work on this year, and do a better job keeping you all informed, if especially anything happening, within a few miles of our boundary. Or bigger projects like the mall redevelopment is the one that comes to mind currently.
Drive down Colton and you just go over the town of Superior line.
Yeah.
There's a
Oh, yeah.
big redevelopment going on over
Yes.
there that's going to affect us.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes affordable housing, doesn't it?
There's a percentage because Broomfield has the same,
Yeah.
inclusionary housing goals.
Yeah, I don't know if there's affordable housing in that redevelopment, now that I think
If they
of it.
didn't put it in as the percentage that's required, then Broomfield has a fee in lieu that they pay in order to develop fully affordable housing developments throughout the town. So if there's not affordable housing, then they paid a lot of money in order for Broomfield to put it somewhere else.
I think they paid for it.
Boulder does the same, doesn't it?
It's how ours is written too. If there's a new residential housing development, it has to provide the affordable housing that's in our inclusionary housing code. We just haven't had one yet. And we don't have a fee in lieu that I'm aware of.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, the board has to, or the council would have to approve a fee in lieu, and that wasn't part of our ordinance when the code went into effect. So it's just, if you build, then you must build X. Might be part of a negotiation. I don't know how that works, if it's zoning.
Okay. Are we happy with our objective work plan?
Yeah, the only question I would have, the intro to 5 and then the last line in 5 kind of say the same thing. I'm struggling.
Oh, yes.
It's redundant.
It seems like it, yeah.
How about I will promise to continue doing these as part of this. I think we added it last year because we weren't doing a good job as staff adding updates to the regular meetings.
Right, and I think like 5 should say planning commission agendas will include regular updates from staff, including but not limited to, boom, the 5, right? That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Feel free to hire more planning staff.
We have a budget?
Yeah, I was going to say, in your own defense, Renee, there's only one of you.
But there's 4 of us technically.
I understand, I just did, you know.
Yes. And yes, I get to work with you all. Jeffrey gets to work with the transportation people because that's his thing.
You guys roll the dice for that to see who loses?
He actually really, like, that's his passion is transportation planning. And so it works out great. He has fantastic ideas and he's very, like, I don't know, he really enjoys it. So it works really well. And he's thoughtful in how he approaches it. So it's great.
We rely on him coming up with a great recommendation for the Marshall-McCaslin intersection.
That's for the traffic engineers to come up with.
Okay. Well,
Good?
may I move the adoption of the 25 work plan as amended before us?
Would somebody like to second that?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
I think we have to take a vote. 'cause
Oh, you have to
we
take
got
a vote.
Bria online.
Yes,
Sorry.
sorry.
I just want you all to be able to get home before McCaslin is covered in snow.
Chairman Harper,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rose.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Yes.
Commissioner Whitty.
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
Commissioner Mojo.
Yes.
Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Yes.
All right. Work plan has been approved.
Okay, the last item on our agenda is adjourn. Adjourn.
Did that very well.
Okay.
Wow.
Thanks,
See,
Bria.
I did that really good at the mic.
No problem.